Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Is it visible now?
Yeah, it is visible. Absolutely.
Yeah. 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 Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
So I think better sorry because there was a disappointment in my system setting
No
is issue.
problem.
Right. Anyway, no
No
problem.
problem.
So see,
Please go ahead.
basically, having said that, our core supply chain guy for many years. So in today's scenario, the supply chain user story challenges. So the challenges what the industry and every industry faces is that to basically it start from customer end with customer. So demand is coming from the customer where we need to work on the system to ensure that how we deliver the overall end product or whatever to the customer. So in that case, the current scenario is supply chain with the post-COVID pandemic situation. Basically, most of the customer they want to have a high product availability at any point of time. There is no lead time, and if they want to have the product, they want to have it in system with the minimum lead time. And though now the challenges for the company is that they need to keep the low inventory at any point of time. Where the demand uncertainty is very high, basically it calls for a volatile demand scenario. So these are basic challenges for any industry. It could be FMCG or retail or manufacturing. So the challenge is going to be the common where we need to deliver product to the customer at optimized cost with lesser lead time, having the fluctuation in the market, so that ensure that customers are retained at any point of time. Well, I think I will go back to the next slide. Yeah. So the key challenges when you look into the customers, so the customers basically, we need to look into what they say actually. So most of the customers, they are basically we look into the three parameters. One is that what is the industry connect. So industry connect is that any organization, it could be a manufacturing or a retail or a textile or chemical, any industry. There are some customer base. Most of the organization wanted to have a growth on year growth, basically based on the customer retention is the first point. And addition to that, they are also making the new customer on board. And the understanding is that if customer to be retained, so where management has to think about what are all the challenges. If at all you want to retain to the customer and they are not going back to competitor, somewhere else you need to figure it out what should be the customer journey mapping, like the pain points, in which what customer want. Are we giving the product as per the customer requirement? Is there any flexibility in which where we can go back to the customer and like a design changes or customer expectation keep on changing, and at one point of time we may not be able to change the design pattern, or it could be a cost, additional cost for the management system. So we need to see what the industry current. Point number two is that visibility and the client awareness. See, most of the organization, they work on their own system to produce a end product. But at the end of the day, we do not know whether the customer likes the quality or aesthetic finish or a fit and finish. Is there any changes or grading or improvement system? So basically, it is something like a isolated system. So in today's scenario, most of the organization working towards what customer want and the mapping to the manufacturing system. It could be a modular program. See, basically, I tell you in Ashok Leyland, they look into a modular program. Instead of producing the standard product, we went back to the customer. Now today, they have a modular program. They can have the chassis. They will be having the tire also. They can choose which tire they want, MRF tire. It can be customized instead of standard product. In the braking system, even vendors, fleet guard filter or any other filter. So most of the things can be customized, whichever is possible, and they are giving the option to ensure that it is a win-win situation because the competition is very high. So modular business program where we are able to do the customization. But at the end of the day, when you look into the product portfolio, there will be an increase in the cost because when you are doing too much of modular program, we may not be able to sustain the cost at any point of time. So I think in those scenarios, so we need to see that how do you balance the demand versus supply chain and ensure that we are able to optimize the cost, improve the business performance with respect to customer requirement. So I think that's the way in which the challenges are positioned for any organization across India right now. So if you go back to the next slide, sir. Yeah. Uh, Yeah, I think okay. So looking into the management vision, basically any organization, it should be process driven approach. It is not people driven. So the robots taken about the process. What I mean is that from the sourcing till the delivery to end customer, you should have a process in which there may be a physical flow of goods through the man management, and you will be having a machines and materials like infrastructure or whatever. At the end of the day, the process should be sound enough to ensure that you are able to deliver the customers on time. It could be a ERP system. The basic ERP system you should have. You should have a digital supply chain tools, and various tools are getting integrated to ensure that your process is sound and robust. And performance, basically, we look into the performance about the demand and supply chain. So it should be a KPI metrics and analysis. So what most of the organization does today is that there is a decentralized system where most of the KPIs are in a Excel sheet, and it is given in a separate way. And the decision making process is very complex because it is a manual driven. So when you're having a system like a ERP and SAP HANA and the cloud-based system, so those kind of advanced technology you are having it with advanced planning and optimization. In the other side of the table, you do not have a system to do the analysis, like in business tools and monitoring of the transportation schedule or planning schedule or DDMRP, demand driven material requirement planning. How is the inventories of the results? So most of the tools are, it is in not driven by the system. So those kind of things, where we need to have, digital tools as of today. And there are many organizations in which they are working with standard ERP, and that the digital is helping out. Because Ashok Leyland, example, Tata Motors. So the thing is that apart from SAP, it was a conventional converting into legacy. Now they are into SAP HANA. Now most of the digital tools, transport management system, you have a WMS system which is also catered to the requirement. So and there is a beautiful system for DOs with area of constraints for demand supply for a spare parts management like FeedGod Fitter, they have implemented. So there are subsystems coming up in a way where you can see that, so from the point of manufacturing, to the point of delivery, PO, we can say point of origin, POO to POU, point of unit delivery. So where you need to synchronize the system, which will lead you to the profit. So you need to decide any organization they want to optimize the cost, improve the profit, and improve the productivity with a system-driven approach and a process-driven approach. And people-driven approach is, it is going to help you, enable you to improve the productivity. And I think in that case, so digital supply chain definitely it is going to be the a very important factor. And going forward, without having robust system in place, I'm sure that very difficult to go into the next level iteration. Right? Go to the next slide, sir. Right. So I'm talking about the scenario. What is the supply chain transformation scenario? The scenario is that see most of the organizations know they talk about supply chain. I handle bigger supply chain portfolio. But at the end of the day, what is the speed and efficiency with respect to the cost? See, most of the organization they'll be having core team member taking the project on various tools and techniques and ensure that they wanted to implement many practices. At the end of the day, they are running with cost is one of the factors. Are they going to reduce the supply chain cost, or are they spending more money to bring the visibility into the digital system? So this supply chain management basically involves you have to optimize the operation across the entire schedule. Start from the line feeding to the delivery to end customer. If it is automatic, if it is going to be chemical industry, where it start from the gate entry to gate out, GI to GO. Likewise, any product coming in and go out should have a sound process in terms of supply chain, function. So that where the speed, what speed you are doing this job, And your objective is that basically to improve the lower delivery time to the customer, so the customer will be retained and they'll be focusing in the long run. So the long-term goal vision on the fulfill that, customer satisfaction index, CSI, is very important. So, but many times what management feel that, they increase the speed, they put the consulting arm, big four consulting firm. At the end of the day, the cost is also going up, because when you implement a system, you need to spend money on this. But in today's scenario, whatever consulting approach, what we feel is that we focus more on to the efficiency factor and effectiveness in the system, where basically there are three automation: only the low cost, medium cost, and high cost. So maybe depending upon the budget, the transformation of supply chain, I think I'm talking about the MSME sector, or it could be a medium industry or a high scale industry. Depending upon the turnover, we need to select on the type of budget in which how the spend on the digital, from the ERP to the next level version, which will enable the company to performance into the different level going forward. So, which will automatically, it is the digital driven, where there is no people intervention, and most of the time, it can be a hybrid mode in which we can operate the system from across the globe. So that's the advantages in which you don't need to have a physical control. Virtually, you can control the whole operation. So this transformation journey, like most of the organization, post COVID, every organization started spending money on digital board actually. So I think there are many case studies in which most of the players are into that right now. So I think digital is definitely going to have the way forward. I'll move on to the next slide now. Yeah. So for you to move into the supply chain, what should be the direction in which we have to work at? See, what is the strong process-based approach? You should have a process in which how you look at the process, current challenges in which you have to redevelop the process. Then once you set up the process across the entire, bucket, you need to see how we perform. So are we performing to the desired level based on the demand and supply? Are we having a variation in the system? So you need to do the adjustment. So this adjustment is nothing but, yeah, you need to have a process in which there are bottleneck. Then you have to do the debottleneck in the system with the process correction and process control. Then ultimately, it is going to have a implication on the cost. So this cost management, what I talk about is that how see, it can be, it is not that cost reduction or cost increase. We call it as a cost optimization. There are some areas to improve the productivity, you need to spend extra money, like that is going to happen. There are some areas you have to ideally reduce the cost to improve the profit or process. So while management looking at today's scenario, wherever there is a need, they spend money logically, and wherever there is a reduction, they need to do the reduction. At the end of the day, they look at the bucket of what is the total cost spent. It is the delta. Increasing cost or decreasing cost in the system, whereby they can improve the efficiency from the current level to the state level. I think so. This direction is very important. So there are three elements which I emphasized. So I think that is going to be the a game changer in the future. Go to next slide, sir. So for me to go to the strategic direction is aligned. What should be the alignment of the goal? This alignment is very simple. So as a team, we need to be very agile and flexible, and we need to make high performance for us to survive in the market. So sustainability, survival, and ecosystem, and taking the competition into account. So high performance is very important, and digital DCM is going to be a part and parcel of the system. And cost leadership is very important, because cost leadership which is have a direct proportion to the profitability in terms of the customer journey. So ultimately, if the organization is having a cost leadership quality, ultimately what will happen is that there will be a selling cost and as well as the cost of manufacturing. So you will be having a healthy P&L. So you won't allow them to go into the from green to the red segment. So probably that will have an implication on how we relate a customer. So this goal alignment is very important. So most of the organization will be having departmental objective and then linking into the various domain. But this goal is going to be common for any system of manufacturing or any kind of network. That is going to be a common agenda. So I think this could be the very important factor while considering the goal alignment. We'll go to the next slide. Sir. So, manufacturing engineering, so basically the challenges we have seen that how do we balance our demand and supply? So, only that what is the expectation from the customer? Yes, we need to do the customer journey mapping. They may expect in a way the cost is going to be had additional cost to manufacturer or a reduction cost. We have to see. And what is the regulation? So this regulation is basically this product as having a regulation. We need to have a approval from the industrial scenario. So whether are we having a complaints? So all the complaints has to be taken into account. So then we need to see how the management look into the differentiation in terms of how they differentiate themselves along with other competitor or the same thing. So that is very important. So they look into the production again and at what time they can market the product, at what cost and what quality and what profit. So driving the digital enterprise, turning data into value, reduce risk, cost, and the time to market. So basically, the scenario is that whatever job we do in the system, that is basically a process driven, convert into the system driven with the dashboard and monitor on each and every leg of the supply chain. So basically, it is we can call it as a value stream mapping. Value stream mapping starts from procurement, sourcing, assembly, line assembly, everywhere. Every element of bucket, we need to see that where we stand and how we have to improve and ensure that which has to go on a straight line method from the way we start and where we go. So I think that is going to be major challenges in the current scenario because the customers are demanding too high from the manufacturing perspective. So now only the I think seller has to work towards aligning with the buyer's requirement. So right, we'll go to the next slide. Sir. So I think this is nothing but a smart manufacturing solutions go. See, basically, there is a process planning, then we do the validation, then we go into the production and production execution and the validation. So this is basic, simple cycle where we need to plug in the data. See, data everywhere we have a data, but most probably current organization system everywhere it is into the decentralized mode. Now we need to make it, but when you go for a rapid factory evaluation, then the evolution can happen only then unless you integrate the digital into each and every process, you will be getting a desired output in a faster and more reliable way so that you can able to adjust the setting at a regular interval. When you're having a problem in the production, the planning side or a selling side or inventory or whatever. So wherever the problems are there, we are able to integrate with digital solution and ensure that you are able to move across into the linear mode, right? Okay. Go back to next slide, sir. So integrated general assembly solution is a basic, case study into the automotive sector. See, in automotive, there are like truck industry or I'm talking about the OEM side, car project or buses or truck, whatever. Basically, today the challenge is bomb management because bomb is very critical. And we also feel that bombs getting translated into production, scheduling, line design, validation. Now, unless we have a demand and supply, with the proper process, so including that there is a logistics box also available in the system right now. There is a simulation we need to do. Then there is going to be assembly line. So whole process now it is getting digitalized in the most of the organization. Tata Motors and Cummins, they are having advanced system. We can go back to next slide. So digital roadmap is nothing but we need to understand customer pain points. What is the JD in which they want to go ahead with as a manufacturer and product knowledge and gathering. We need to see that. mapping the current system. Then you need to create a new value chain application performance for you to go for a proper implementation. So this value chain system is nothing but what customer wants. Then you have to do the digital roadmap. It could be a short run or medium or long run, and ensure that they are retained, sustained, and there is the ecosystem. So sustainability and growth should be there from the both sides, right? So that is the way in which we need to plan right now. We can go back to next slide. So, what are the benefits we arrived due to digital tools? What is that operating efficiency? Of course, definitely it is going to have a improvement, and the response time could be internet communication or external communication will be more effective, and you'll also get into optimized operation scenario, and most of the thing the visibility is very important, and decision making will be very faster since you are having a data driven model, and wherever there is a gap in terms of system, we can do that. And I'm sure that there is going to be a competitive advantages since you're having a application of the digital tools. And the customer relationship is very important because most of the customer, they want to have a bonding. It's not that we sell the product and not doing the service after sale. It is going to be a problem. So after sales and service is very important factor where you need to achieve 98% is the minimum service level we need to achieve. Or come whatever may be at whatever cost it may be. So that is going to be the leverage for all the customers. These are all very important benefits of digital ACM. You go back to the next slide. So I think I'm just giving a sample, slide. What is the supply chain 4.0? See, if you look at, most of the organization is having robots, ERP, depending upon the budget. A lot of tools and techniques are there. SAP and Oracle or Infor, and Data Labs India. They are into digital supply chain. Blue Yonder, Pando, TMS freight for system. So Cargo FL. See, most of the player, they are having a system which can be integrated into organization system where you could leverage the output based on the input data. So industry 4.0 is very important that we need to go for a digital for taking the decision and faster approach. And depending upon the budget, I'm sure that it's very important point where we need to do that. So most of the players are in the system right now. They are working with the various customer and ensuring that they are creating a win-win situation for both of the organization. So basic ERP system with the SaaS product to improve the supply chain velocity. So the velocity of supply chain is very important. The speed in which you want to drive result to the customer is directly proportional to the what kind of system you are having it to deliver the product. So your system should have a basic robot system with some kind of digital tools where it will meet the customer demand in the long run as well as the short run and medium run perspective. Right. So we need to have an investment, very important factor. So these investments are getting related to the product costing per price. But when you do the amortization over the period of time, it is very very simple cost. It is a low cost automation in which we have implemented. Most of the organizations, Ashok Leyland or TI Group, everybody started working on a digital tool. If you name it in the market now, including FMCG or auto and auto ancillary sector, manufacturing sector, in the other same. So most of the people are having it with a digital product. If you go back to the next slide, sir. Next slide. So it is nothing but for you to go into the system, we need to have a program management approach. So you need to clean the data, you need to integrate, and then working with the team member to do the proper delivery to the end customer. This is nothing but product development cycle with the digital as a key focus. So I think that's a way in which we need to work on this. You go back to the next slide. Sir. Next slide. Okay, so see, when you look into that, flexibility, what you need, when you need it, and the paying just for them. See, basically, we are working on the concept for setting the system. There is a preliminary design for the product and detailed design, and then manufacturing. Of the manufacturing, so we are going back to the end customer for delivery. That is going to be a separate cycle. So we need to work on breaking the barriers of innovation and collaboration. So basically, we need to work on the system. Physical system is not going to help us. So we need to break the physical system, having a digital on board, and ensure that the system will take care of the process apart from the SOP and whatever we are doing it. So that is the objective in mind. We need to work towards that. We can go back to next slide. So cost management, I think, see, basically, that there is the cost plus model. We work on a target costing for the procurement function. And we also do the benchmarking of the best cost in which we have to procure. And should-based costing, basically, if you're launching the new product, you'll be having you have some assumption of the product, then you go for a detailed design, so you have some better costing. But what we do is that cost to procure is already there in the system. Cost to manufacture, most of the organization is having it. But cost to serve, I'm sure that most of the organization never realize that what is the cost to serve the customer. See, cost to serve is nothing but we produce product, we sell the product. The difference between the cost is now to overhead is the profit per product. So if you want to know what is the level in which we serve the customer, which is nothing but the demand from customer, from the order management to the delivery and service, follow, payment call, procure to pay, all this cycle is very important. See, most of the customer, what do you do? Tap a tractor, they have a low volume product, but they produce it to customer, even with the low volume, 50 numbers per month, but they want to serve the customer. So for those products, if you look at the profitability may not be there, only they are serving the customer. If it is high volume product, 2000 tractor per month, what will happen? You will be getting a very good yield because your cost to service is low cost. You produce high volume and serving the customer with demand. The low volume production in the scenario, the cost to serve will be very, very high. Now, most of the companies, they started doing the rationalizing the product base. Instead of 50 model, they are go focusing only on 10 to 12 model as a overall scenario, and any change in the demand system, so that they'll be flexible as a modular model. So I think this is cost management is going to be very important. So I think that is the way in which most of the organizations started working right now. With the system, they are able to track the cost and each and every element of the packet. So we can go back to next slide, sir. So implementation, basically, what I feel is that so you need to have a process excellence drive. It starts from sales and operation supply chain. There is a most of the organization sales team working on that, and you need to have the basic quality system, the Kaizen, Gemba, TQBM, daily management, program management, policy management, SPC, and 5 years. So you'd be having internal process, but that should be digital driven, not by driven by the manual mode. In addition to that, we'll be having a system like a e-sourcing, ERP, TMS, WMS, and the AAML capability. Now, what will happen now when you go for implementation? There is a physical process where there is a team is manpower is available for doing the system. They do the operation, they do the testing, go live, everything they are doing it. Now we are having a system where each and every element of the bucket is getting controlled by the digital. So digital 100% sure that it is going to add value in the system, and it is data driven. You don't have to worry. You can retrieve the data at any point of time rather than calling the people and asking for a data. So I think this way, I'm sure that the process excellent. We can benchmark the best practices into the domestic level as well as global benchmark with the system. Just for example, I mentioned about the TMS or WMS, AAML. You have other tools like a procure to pay, asset management. You will be having so many, tools and techniques at that, people management, the performance improvement system. Likewise, there are many tools are there. So that will lead us into the system for a digital era. I think this is my presentation. I'm getting this right now. So I
Yep.
think this is my practical experience I have seen for last 30 years, I think, which I presented.
A great presentation, Sundar. Fantastic. You covered a lot of things.
Okay.
But how practically to do this in especially in the developing countries and also
Yeah,
in
see, because now
okay,
I'm
so yeah, the question is now when you talk about like if you take an automotive
okay,
industry,
okay,
okay, the original OEM is not a problem. So they invest,
okay,
to get all these things done. But when you go to the tier one manufacturer, okay, or maybe tier two, let us stick to the tier one. So there are two things what we observe. Okay,
okay,
so first thing is the management have to do right investments to achieve manufacturing 4.0. Without investment, they cannot get it. The second thing is uh, they need to have some kind of right people in place who can drive this. If you have a gap in the people or in the investments, then it's very hard to achieve. I think management have realized now, the managers, the owners of the businesses and the heads of businesses, they realize that it's needed. But these are the two things what we observed based on our implementations. What do you think?
Sir,
Uh,
actually, 100% it is true actually, because when you go into when you go to any management, like any big organization or tier one, tier two, IT spending budget itself is a very tough one, because they said already they're having a ERP. Why should they invest for a transport management system or WMS management? It is an add-on cost, but that is not, see, now people started realizing today, because the complexity of customer demand is going very tough now. Now they have started realizing is by implementing TOC, theory of constraint for spare parts management, they are able to fulfill it. They need to spend
mhm.
this amount of, it could be a crores or it could be a lakh, and there is a data migration. Now, I think current scenario, most of the organization working towards allocating the budget in such a way that they also want to work on a digital board, because now everything is AI and ML driven now actually. It starts from the sourcing to the delivery to the end customer, purchase order, automatic tracking system, RFP also getting flowed up through system, e-bidding. Most of the tools are there in the system, and even there is a travel in Ashok Leyland. I have example. It is also system. I think if somebody travel, a system will give the make the full payment on within 24 hours without checking the system. It is the project name is called trust. It is a digital trust. They trust the people. They do the expenses according to the grade. And if any problem, they'll be having an audit and then they take a call. But see, now it is digitally driven. Instead of around 50 people in the finance department working for a system, they have only 2 people working on a digital. So now they implemented the project with Accenture. The project digital is working very fine. Similarly, Tata Motors also they did for the WMS platform, because they were building only on SAP. Now they are having a system with Ramco ERP where they are able to work on all the warehouses into WMS. So now they are spending around 1 to 2 crore for all the warehouses. Likewise, now people are realizing that yes, there is going to be a cost benefit analysis. In the long run, they do the amortization of the IT asset cost with the 3PL player. So that will support us instead of manufacturing organization implementing. 3PL people are investing, like all cargo, TVS logistics. Now they have started investing onto the system. They amortize over the period of cost to the client side. So that is what happening now. Even many of the organizations started doing that.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Perfect, perfect. I think the manufacturing 4.0, what we have briefed, it
correct.
needs a full day session actually. Okay, so you tried your best to explain this in 30 minutes.
Okay.
Uh, any final thoughts? How this manufacturing 4.0 will help in mid-size organizations? Any final thoughts?
Yeah,
What is advice from you? Yeah.
see,
Any key
basically,
takeaways?
I see we are dividing into MSME. Basically, MSME sector, which are small, medium, and enterprises. So MSME sector, the turnover between to 50 to 100 crore is a one section where they want to go for a low cost ERP. I have seen that. They want to spend many of 20 to 30 lakhs budget. They want to have a ERP and other tool. And medium sized enterprises, more than 50 to 100 crore turnover to 200, 500, they are also ready to work on a robust system. Now, now, without this system, with the legacy, with the whatever package like a tally or a conventional system, it is not going to help them. When they do the scalability, they don't have the data. And when the production volume goes up, they are into trouble. Now everybody started. Even SAP, that they are coming up with a package, less than 50 lakhs to come the MSME sector. Likewise, people started using a digital as a tool. I'm sure that we need to have the collaborative exercise, and we need to inculcate the understanding that how the digital will be useful for them with the proper demo, ensure that customers are getting on board. So those kind of drive, we need to create a branding for ourselves. Not only branding, we need to create a proof of concept so that customer will get satisfied and buying the product. So that is what happening right now. I'm sure that we need there is a disconnect, because when we go back to them with the cold call or marketing call, no sir, already we are having system. You don't want any digital. That is the way they talk. Then we need to go and collaborate with them, understand 2 to 3 calls, converting them into demo process, and understanding the proof of concept. I think then they will understand, yes, this is going to help us. That is going to be a delta cost, and there is a delta revenue. I think that has to get converted into revenue stream with the productivity improvement. They will buy it. So I think it is not related to cost. It is related to performance and efficiency of the organization. I'm sure that that will have a leverage in a long run. Digital.
Perfect. Perfect, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Sundar. Thank you very much
Thank
for
you.
your fantastic presentation. Look forward for you for more
Okay, sir.
presentations
Okay.
from you in coming days. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you
very
very
much
much.
for giving me the opportunity. Thank you to all.
Okay.